Howdy. So here we have the Ludlam Friskler. It happens to be the model 26-1, which we have on the trucks now. So this is for alpha and beta contamination monitoring, and then gamma, it can check our exposure or dose rate. So we got a couple different buttons on here. We have the OK button, which will be our power. It'll silence and acknowledge our alarms, and it can click on and off the audio. The U will change the units, and the M will change our operating modes between rate meter, max mode, and count mode. So we'll get her turned on. And just so you're aware, it's not showing on here, but the battery, low battery indicator would be here in the lower left of the screen. So we're getting counts reading. So remember, there's always going to be radiation, so we'll always have some sort of count in the background. You just got to know what it happens to be. It's sitting right there on the rock, so it could be getting some a little bit higher counts than normal because of that. So we'll switch through our modes real quick. We could change our unit, so we were in counts, and now we're in millirems per hour, and back to counts. We can change our mode, so we have that rate meter mode, like I said, just going to give us counts per minute. We're switching to the max mode, which is just going to show us the max reading since we last reset it, and OK will reset that number. So our max right now is 47. If we pulled away, maybe it'll change a little bit. Well, it's going to just stay at 58, but we reset it, and now it's back to 0. And so again, it's getting our max. And we'll reset it to counts. So it's going to set a timer. It just happens to be set for 1 minute, and then we'll hit OK, and it should start running that timer. It'll give us the counts over that 1 minute, which that's more for needing to send it to a reach back service to give us more later on. So mostly with this device, we're going to stay in that counts mode and just leave it on that. So it has the plastic cover to help us differentiate between alpha, beta, and gamma sources. So for this, we're just going to pop it off. So we use this mostly for if we go into, say, a white powder call, we need to check for alpha and beta, we could run it right over the top of the source. So say this was our source here, this random lab at 31s with a high heel shoe. We'll run it over. First, we're going to double check what our background radiation is. It's at 72 counts per minute, or we can also change that. Okay, we're at 0.01 millirem per hour. We run it over the sample. We see no change. So we're going to need to document that because that's what the state lab's going to want on their stuff. The other thing we can do is we can do it for patient decon. Say we've had some sort of radiation incident, and then we need to check our patients that are going to the hospital for radiation. So the first area we're going to check is their mouth, make sure the counts aren't any higher than background. We're looking at 2 times background is any sign of radiation. So we're seeing some changes, but that's not getting to 2 times background. So if we did that, we would check their hands, which this person doesn't have hands. And then we go over the body, slowly just going back and forth. We're starting to see a change in there. So now we have 2 times background. We have well above that, which there is a rad source right there. And so we know we either need to decon that spot again, or maybe they have some sort of radiation impaled in the injury, and then we got to cover up and just notify the hospital, and they'll do the rad source. But then we continue on the body. We continue on the torso, and then we check the arms up and down to those hands we already checked, and then we check the legs, and then flip them over, do the same things on there. Again, with this, 2 times background is any source of radiation, and if we're going to send it to the state lab, we just have to document what the numbers were at our reading, because they can't take radiation for biologicals. That'd be a call to Texas Department of State Health Services, RAD team, or the CST, or the Department of Energy, depending on what we have going on. Again, if there's any issues, call the science officer and they can help you out.